with the President Trump and his supporters. Well, back here at home, San Francisco and Berkeley preparing for what could be a violent weekend. 2 alt-right rallies are scheduled. We do have multiple reports for you tonight. Tom Jensen is in Berkeley, where things are already getting testy. But we begin with NBC Bay Area's Sam Brock in Crissy Field in San Francisco. Sam.
Raj, you said that those events are scheduled right now and leaders are in limbo, waiting to see if the National Park Service is or is not going to actually issue the permit for the event. Now, we are expecting, regardless, that there will be counter-protests here at Crissy Field, whether the permit is issued or not, and assuming that there is some activity here. There's events going on that day, this Saturday, August 26th, that are not violent and that are not at Crissy Field.
I think the focus really is on not elevating the message of hate.
Cheryl Evans-Davis is the executive director of the Human Rights Commission in San Francisco, a group that has been brainstorming for days on a proper and peaceful response to the wave of protests gripping cities across the U.S. and barreling toward the Bay Area.
We're so far removed from the sit-ins and boycotts that I think sometimes people forget that there was a commitment to nonviolence and that there was actually a lot of training and workshops and teach-ins that were happening.
That commitment comes now in the form of nearly a dozen events scheduled for this weekend, from empowerment conferences to help against hate stations that are all sprinkled across San Francisco. As for protesters pawing their way onto Crissy Field this weekend, the primary form of protection would come from U.S. Park Police. I questioned local leaders of Congress about it this morning. They're not trained in crowd control. Do you have concerns about safety and what could evolve at this protest?
Well, over a week ago, I wrote to them, said to them and wrote to them that I wanted to know what serious appraisal they were making of their ability to protect people.
There is still no response from the Golden Gate Park headquarters, despite our repeated requests for more information. We're 4 days out now from this proposed protest. What do you think would be a reasonable space for the U.S. Park Service to actually respond? Because so far it's been essentially radio silence.
Well, I think they're doing the due diligence they need to determine whether or not there's a credible threat.
Congresswoman Jackie Speer responding there. She later said in that response that she expects it to be about 24 hours before we find out definitively if that permit is going to be issued. She says that would constitute a reasonable period of time in her mind. As for the events we were telling you about earlier in this story, we have posted all of those on our web copy. You can find that tonight on NBCBayArea.com. Reporting live from San Francisco, I'm Sam Brock. Back to you in the studio.
Okay, thank you, Sam.